You will be, if you go to the homepage of today of our course, this is our course, the homepage there. You probably went there to find this. You'll find this quiz that doesn't open until 3:30. So at 3:30, you need to be ready to click on that link and run that quiz. I think I've probably got a password on it, so I'll check that and I'll let you know the password in a minute if there is one. But these, sorry? Yeah, 3:30. So there's 3 other links here. So that's going to start at 3:30. There's 3 other links here that you should work on in the meantime, which is for the lab that we're doing now, because this is a lab class. So I'm giving you the time in the class. I mean, it's now 1:30. You got until 3:30 to do the lab. That's 2 hours, sorry, only, isn't it? But then you can do your quiz. The lab, I'm giving you a couple of days for it, I think. You don't need to finish it today. Okay, so you got instructions here. That's the link that I was just showing you. And then you've got a starter, which is a bunch of files that you need to download. It's a folder, and it's a compressed folder. So you'll need to download the compressed folder and uncompress it. And then you can start working on it. The instructions are in this here. I'm not gonna open that because it's already open here. So these are the instructions. So what you're going to do is very much the same as what we did in the class last lesson. In class, we did an exercise like this. So that's why I ask you people, your students, you're not just people, you're students. That's why I ask students to do that exercise, because it really will help you to do the lab. If you've already done the exercise, which was in the video that Mr. Hussain made and that I shared with you. So that's why I ask you to do that. You should recognize that when you get started on this. You'll see that it's the things that you learned from doing the lab should help you here. All right, so what you need to do is, as it says, you need to download that starter file, which is, I gave you the link and I just showed you where that link was. Then you have to start doing some editing. Okay, so your editing is all going to be in CSS. You don't need to make any edits on the index.html file. So the index.html file is all set up for you, but you need to, I think some of these CSS, you actually have to create the CSS. Now it's got some suggestions there on what you should do. So you should have a reset. Do you remember the reset in the lecture? We talked about it. Sorry, you're talking. Yes, you need to create a reset, and it needs to be in a folder so that it's accessed. You need to have a link to it in your index file. So when I said that you don't need to edit the index file, maybe you need to edit it to create a link, but, just in the head, but you don't need to edit anything in the body of the HTML. So you're going to have what, 2, maybe 3? Is it 2 CSS files? So yeah, it's only going to be 2 CSS files. One's going to be a layout and one's going to be a reset. So you're going to have 3 files in all. The index file is already there. All you need to do is put the links in and sorry, I think that you can put them all in one folder if you want. Is that what you're asking me? Yeah, that's fine. So you're going to have a mixed layout. So mixed layout, you're going to have a min and a max width. All right. You're going to use grids. You're not going to use any float. Okay. And so you're going to have a header, nav, rows, etc. Now, just to give you an idea, am I recording this? I think I am, right? I think I'm pretty sure I'm recording this. Yes.
Yes, sir. You're recording.
I'm recording it. That's good. Somebody said something in the chat. Sir, there's no dropbacks for the lab. Let me just check that. I'll make sure that we get a Dropbox for the lab. It could be that the Dropbox is hidden from you because I thought I created a link to the Dropbox. So I couldn't create a link to the Dropbox if there wasn't a Dropbox. But can you make it private? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I'm flexible. No problem. We can do that. So what you're going to end up with is, let me just make this. I'm going to end up with things all over the place, right? But I am going to make this a little bit smaller because I've got these over here. You're going to end up with these files here. Oh, yeah, too many. Do you mind if I just sort of put some of these away a bit? The chat, maybe I can put that away. Yeah, I can always open chat again later, and I can open that later. The styles, yeah, somebody will be looking at that. Okay, is it all right if I put this away? That's just because you can look at that anytime. Where's all my?
Sure, sir.
So I got styles. Here's my other file. So yeah, there's the reset. No, is that the reset? Yes, I guess it is. So in the reset, you've got a bunch of things that you need to do. You see, we've indicated a bunch of the parts of the HTML that you're going to set to display block. All right. And then you're going to reset your margins and padding and border to 0, font size to 100. So there's instructions for that, setting the border size, and this is with most of the parts of the document. The list style, setting it to none so that we don't get any of those, with the bullet points. You don't have the bullets, so the bullets will be gone. And the list style image to none, nothing there, right? And text decorations. So for the, you're going to have a couple of lists so that the lists don't have any underlined hyperlinks, that kind of thing. So that's, the list is in the navigation part of the body. And then we've got some other bit there. Is this our thing? I don't know. I think it was, I would have to have a look at the folder to see what was in it. Hold on a sec. Me getting used to you. Oh yes, of course it's over here. I've got the folder over here. Hold on.
You can go to the finder.
There it is. Yeah, it's okay because I have it open on the page. So yeah, you have only these 4. So yeah, so that index is not one of them. It's exercise 1, layout, reset, and styles, as far as I know. So let's look at each of those separately, right? So exercise 1, I've probably already got it open, but I'll open it again. Oh, well, what I should do rather than do that is I should open it in a browser so you can see what it's supposed to look like when it's done. That's what I wanted to do. So it's going to look like this when you're done. Okay, so have a look at that and think about how you could do that using your grid. Okay, so I hope you remember that. We're going to end up with a bunch of columns, right? And using those columns where you could have 6 columns is how could you get 6 columns? There's a few ways that we could do 6 columns. One might be to use the repeat the frame that we've all, and this one could just be 6 of them, right? Then you've got a left column, you've got a right column, you've got a middle column, and you need to sort of put that in there. You got a header bit and you got a footer bit, which line up with those grid columns. So all of that we talked about in the last lesson. It also showed up in the video that was done by Hussam. So if you have any trouble with this, as you said, if you need some more time, you don't have to finish this today. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can I repeat what you should do where?
Part 3.
Part 3?
Yes.
Part 1, part 2, part 3? I'm not sure what you mean by part 3.
In PDF, there is part 3.
Oh, in the Word document, there's part 3?
Yes.
I'm not sure that. Okay, where did I put that document? Yeah, actually, I didn't have a Word document open, come to think of it. The Word document was just, here, this one, right? Part 3, oh, you mean, all right. So you need to create an external style sheet called layout.css. That's where you're going to do most of your work. So I opened for you and you saw the reset, right? And where we set all those things there, there's a bit of work there. But mixed layout, that means you're going to have mints and max for your width. Going to have a header. we were just looking at that header a couple of seconds ago, weren't we? You know, you saw at the top there was the header. And you're gonna have the nav down the, well, actually the nav is horizontal nav just below the center, the header. And yeah, so. Okay, you're gonna have some columns. You can do that with grids. I'll just remind you, so I'm giving you a bit of a sneak look at this. How does that look? So how it's gonna look is something like this. Look, you're getting your min and your max width for your body. That's going to, that meets that thing there about the mixed layout. The margins left and right auto, that's gonna center things, right? You're making sure that your display is grid, right? And then you're going to set up your grid columns, just like you said there, Asad, which is, you know, you're going to have your repeat 6 of a 1 frame. So that gives us the 6 things across the side there. Now, grid gap, I don't know if you remember that from what we talked about, but what the grid gap is going to do is it's going to, if we look back on, where have I got this? I got this in, did I open it? I opened it in a browser. Which browser did I open it in? Did I close it? Oh, it's easy enough to open again. Except I got too many windows. Yeah, so you got your header at the top, your nav bar there, and then your left, middle, and right. And so when you do this, remember, we're going to do that grid. And so with the grid, we're going to say it starts at this point and ends in that point. That's all in the notes. We did that in the notes, right? So it's just like that in the notes. The reason why I'm pointing to that is because if we look at this bit of, we can see that happening here. So for example, for the header, we're saying that we're going to start at the first column and we're going to go to the end column. The header is going to take up the whole of the width, right? And the grid it's going to start at the first row and go to the second row. So it's only going to be 1 row. So the header becomes just the top row. That's how that's happening. And, you know, of course you style it to be a certain size. Then the nav, which is the next bit down, how's that styled? So again, it's going to be styled to take up all the columns. That's what the 1/-1 means. Remember, -1 means the end. So from the start to the end, that's how we're going to do that. And then we're going to go from the first row to the second row. So 1 row. So it's only going to be 1 row, but from the start to the end. Then it might start getting, well, actually, it's from the second row to the third row because the header goes from the first row to the second row. But basically, that's 1 row for the nav. And then the article is this bit on the side. It takes up from the first row to the third row. So from the first column to the second column, it takes up 2 columns. We can see that there, right? There's 2 columns. 2 columns for that article, from the first to the third. And it goes from the third row down to the 5th row. So two columns and 2 rows for the article. Now that's the one on the side. Then there's the article that's in the middle that is obscured by the CSS. And so that starts where? The one in the middle, or the main, it starts at column 3 and it goes to column 6. So it's, 3, 4, 5, that's 3 columns. And it starts from row 3 and it goes to row 5. So that's what these things here mean. I mean, you don't have to do it this way. You might be able to find another way. No, you kind of do it.
I think there is a row or a column at the end.
Yes, there is. It's obscured by the CSS. So there's a column at the end, and this box is only 1 column wide. You can see that because it's the same as link 6. And so that's called side 1. Now side 1 and side 2 are styled separately because they take up different number of rows. So side 1 goes from the 6th, starting here at the 6th column, goes to the end. Then it starts from I guess this is the 3rd row, and it goes to the 5th row. Is it the 5th row? No, it goes only to the 4th row. Yes, from the 3rd row so it only is taking up 1 row. A row is kind of big. Yeah, so it goes from the 3rd row to the 4th row. Then side 2 is below it, And side 2 also starts at column 6, right? Starts at column 6, and goes to the end. So column 6 / -1, and it starts at column 4 and goes to column 5. And then that's all of them. Then what you've got is the footer. And the footer's got sort of 3 columns involved there, right? Where's my, is this it? No, that's the reset. So I'll put that away. Looked at that enough. Oh yeah, there's our layout. And so then we get our footer, and what we're doing there is we repeat 3 times to get our column. So it's actually set up. It's actually set up here in a different div, looks like. I mean, you may find another way of doing it, but I'm showing you one way that works. Okay. So hopefully that sort of gets you sort of started. This is what your target is. You'll find the files, all you've got is text, right? And so you have to sort of make all this happen with your CSS. All right. I'm going to stop recording on that because that's kind of what I wanted to show.